And this is a special Sunday night. I must say, this is actually the exhausted period of time you come home after an auction. So what did I get? What did I see? Well, some exciting things going on. I want to share those things with you, even though I don't have much time because there was so much involved in the auction. There's so much things to clean up and do afterwards. So here are some of the highlights of tonight's program, or today's program, the weekend activity. I hope everybody really has an opportunity to see some of these things. Let me put in my microphone. I don't know if you can hear me very well. Welcome everyone to the auction evening. I'm going to just take a moment. Going on here in the fish room. I got a new shirt, by the way. Well, it was part of the weekend. This weekend was, and I'm going to show you the shirt. This is the 75th anniversary of the Hamilton, Ontario District Aquarium Society. And this particular club has been in existence for 75 years, and this year was their shebang. So we had a big bang program for the weekend, and this is what they were doing. They were bringing in all kinds of speakers. We had events all day long yesterday, program after program of different people like Eric Roderick and others who are well known in the aquarium world. And these individuals gave great talks, and I learned some things. I appreciated what they had to say. And they engendered a lot of interest in certain fish that I never even thought about before. So that's one of the great things about hearing from others. You see things and you get to know things, and there was some tremendous tips. Maybe I'll mention a thing I learned or a thing I liked about the talks as we go along. And yeah, we do have some interesting things going on. I'm going to show you right now what's going on in the Lucipinnis world. Right here in our tank here is the Lucipinnis tank. I pulled out some eggs a few minutes ago. These are from last night. And you can see some of them are turning white. So this is not a good sign, but it is also interesting that they're not all white. Of course, there's time left still. The white eggs I might remove just to prevent the other ones from being affected. But as you can see, there are some clear ones. I'll put on some light. There you go. Get to see. This is not a big batch. I've had many more, but you see the clear ones over here? There's a few that might hatch. Give it another day and we'll see if they hatch. Now, I know these eggs were laid maybe early morning because I was up so late last night filling bags for the auction today that I was not in bed until 3 a.m. So I checked the trap just before 3 a.m. There was nothing. And look at this. Today, this evening, right now, we're looking at eggs that have been in the trap, and some of them even turned white. So that tells me that they spawned very early in the morning or super late at night, but even after 3 a.m., they're not even a spawn yet. In the last couple of weeks, we have pulled out a good number of fry. These ones here are doing well. You see them zipping about. Over here in this tank, or this jar, I should say, they're doing great. Absolutely wonderful. And I'm going to clean out the bottom. I see some that have died. I'm going to just remove as much of the detritus as I can. What I'll do is I'm going to just remove by siphoning into this glass bowl. Once I do that, I'll be able to see if I caught or picked up any live swimming fry, and if so, I can take a little eyedropper like this one, and I'll just take the fry back and put them right back into the tank. So if they get sucked up with the airline tube method of siphoning, it's okay, not a big deal. So what did I get at the auction? You know, this was some new plants. These plants were not purchased. These came with the package for the anniversary bash by Hamilton Club. It was a gift to those who, and they got to pick different plants. These are two I don't have, so we're going to give these a little fun whirl. And I'm going to put this one in a pot. It's an Amazon sword. I've always been fond of Amazon sword since I was a kid. Never had a lot of success with them, but we're going to try something. We're going to put them in a pot with some good, shall we say, soil mixture for them and see what happens. Now, also this weekend, I was able to pick up something. It was a surprise. For me, it was a draw that they had for all those who were ticket holders. And look at this, a spec freshwater kit, 2.5 gallon basically, or 10 liter. It comes complete. It has, as you can see, the actual filter and everything built in. And this is going to be nice. I always wanted one of these. It has a strong LED too, high output for growing plants, 3-stage filtration. This is really nice. So it's mostly for show, but it's almost basically something you can actually put right on your desk. Now this is not cheap. I remember seeing one of these before and I wanted one, but I looked at the price and I said I can't afford it. And so for me, this was a wonderful, wonderful gift in the draw, and I was just happened to be one of the ticket holders that got my name pulled. And how nice it is! What a surprise! I wasn't expecting this at all. So this will be fun, and I hope to share my journey with my spec, fluval spec, as time goes on, and we're going to see how it turns out. Also, I did pick up some plants in the auction. These are what looks like red root floaters and water lettuce. And so I know the red root floaters that we had died out, so I'm just going to get them going again. So that's why I got them, is just basically replace what we had. What else? Anything good came? I did not purchase any fish, but we sold a lot of fish, and we came away from the auction doing very well. I put in some Daphnia, and I don't know if there's people out there that really like this kind of Daphnia. It's kind of unique. So this has been working out pretty well, but there are some things we'll talk about one day about the Daphnia, the process. I'm trying to square root it to see. These Daphnia produce faster, much, much faster than any regular Daphnia out there. I also took some of the baby Lucipinnas, put them in the auction, and they went for very good money. Basically, you look at these little guys, they're not quite big enough that I normally sell. I like to get them a little bigger, and these things went for like $10 each. Very nice catfish. We love our Lucipinnas, don't we? Okay, well, here we have some of the highlights. I was able to sell some of the barbs. Let's say that I had enough for black ruby barbs. I had enough for crud. I had 2 bags of these Odessa barbs, and of course what I have left, you can see, are just gorgeous. This is what they look like in a planted tank. They get really red behind the green. It just makes it outstanding. We have fry just moving along. I have some. Here is some angel fry from a particular batch. Not much going on there, but here you can see there is a nice large batch of Leoticara curviceps, and these were hatched by the parents, but then the parents went into the auction. So when we saw the babies, we just said, well, we'll have to siphon them out and rear them up ourselves. So that's what these are. Curviceps, Leoticara curviceps, and then of course more angels that came from a tank. Well, these are fish that were laid in a community tank, so the eggs were pulled, and now I'm raising them artificially. So that's many of the things going on. Now, before I see my phone doesn't have a lot of battery life in it. This is something else that I did. This was green water, and it seemed like it was dying out. So I'm trying something a little new. I'll let you know what the results are. But as you can see, it's all brown. Well, what that is first of all, I put in potassium permanganate. And by putting in potassium permanganate, it is like a sterilizing agent. And so I wanted to kill whatever's in here that could be actually causing some of the green water to die out. But I have more green water. So here is a bucket full. And as you can see, the chlorella is very green. It's very good to go. I'm going to feed the Daphnia with it. But I'm also going to get my culture production going again. This 2.5 gallon is all I use. It makes me enough green water for everything. So I'm giving you the rundown really quick, actually, because I see my battery is not so great. But anyway, I'm exhausted after the deal. So what we did here was last week, the last number of days, we had a trio of checkered barbs, a trio of albino cherry barbs, and albino cherry barbs. So that's what you're looking at is 4 tanks, and we're just waiting for fry. Fry have been spotted here in tank number 1, and they are, I don't know, see if we can see any. I don't know if that's one. Hold on. That could be a mark. I don't see any right now. I usually use the flashlight. Let's see. If I grab the flashlight. Let's see what I got here. Anything? Oh, here's one right here. Right up against on the right-hand side, right there. See? Oh, 2. Okay, I see them moving around. It's time to put in I'm going to flood the tank now with paramecia. In this tank, though, I don't see any. If they're the same age, if there are any, if this trio produced anything, these would be also the same fish. And we'll see if there's any in there, but it's time to throw in the paramecia. Yeah, and the albino cherry barbs, they usually take a little bit longer than other, just to come on out. They're kind of shy by nature, and especially with the light, they're not. They don't like the light because I think being an albino form, they don't do well with that. So we'll go ahead and throw the food in there. It wouldn't hurt, and so we flood the tanks, and then the next 5 days we'll see more fish come out. I really wanted to get those fish breeding, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get them breeding is because actually it turns out that I don't have a lot of breeders left. For some reason I've sold them, and that's a problem that we have around here. We end up selling things and then we realize, whoa, where's all my fish? So I need to always keep back the correct number I need. And usually when something like this is barbs, I really would like to have about 10 pairs just to pick from for breeding and backups. And then after that, it's very likely, hello, Fish Tropic Canada. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for the thumbs up and all the support. Now, what I like to have is some backups, some numbers. Anything can happen. I've lost whole tanks from a bacterial infection or something comes up. You got to be prepared for the unexpected. And so if you don't want to lose your fish in your fish room, that's what you have to do, is to always have not all the fish in one basket, all your eggs in one basket. You need to have the fish in a couple different tanks. So as I'm relating to everybody, we've got this special event. I'm exhausted after selling 40 bags of items, including plants, a bag of hornwort, and a bag of the chain sword, and the bag of angels, and the bag of, we sold discus and pistogrammas. And one of the things that makes an actual auction work very well is bringing things that other people won't be bringing, and don't bring a lot of them, but bring a lot of different ones. And so that gives variety, But then when it comes to if somebody's looking for that particular item and they see it and they like it and they've always wanted to have it, well, then you can do that. But at the same time, you can be very careful because what you're giving them is perhaps just one item to auction. Because, of course, the higher it sells for, the more money that you make as a vendor, as a person seller, as a seller. So we'll see how that works out. There's going to be an auction in the spring. Our next one will be in the spring here in the Peel region. And the Peel Regional Aquarium Club is going to have their auction in April. So that will be the next one we can plan for. And it's a wonderful opportunity to share with fish that maybe you have extra of and you just want to cut down the numbers. For example, right now I see 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, I have almost 20 Odessa males and probably 10 or 12 females. And I don't really need so many. Like, I think I sold 2 bags of 6, so that's 12. I got rid of 12 Odessa barbs today, and I just cut back and shared it with other people. They've got some beautiful males and a couple females. And then what I was able to do is just cut down the numbers in my tank so it allows the fish to grow. And so it worked out. Everything sold. We didn't have to bring anything back, like, it wasn't going to sell. So this is the pot I'm going to use. I'm going to put that Amazon sword in here, but we're going to fill it up with all the fertilizing and things. The auction today was in Hamilton. It was supported by the Hamilton District Aquarium Society, and it was their 75th anniversary. It's been on their website for a long time. If you go to kaoac.ca, if you're in Canada, kaoac.ca, there's an events tab, and you click on the menu and you click on events. It gives you the calendar and every event, all the auctions as they're coming up with the different clubs and the dates. So check it out. If you haven't seen that, it gives you an idea of what's happening in your area. I'm not sure what area you're in, but I forget. Now, also, the talks really stimulated me, and I was kind of excited because some of the talks were about plecos and breeding some of the Medusa pleco and several others that I've never really considered. Not that you have to, first of all, be able to access or get a hold of some, but also it's a wonderful way to expand your thoughts. But one of the points I share was brought up is be careful, because there's always and forever something new, something other, something exciting, something more to try. And so, it's wonderful to have, all the fish you have. But if we just every time we saw something, we like it and we wanted to dig into it, you realize that it means another tank, more work. And so you have to be, a little self-disciplined at times and keep it under control. So that will allow you to have maybe less fish, but in the long run, better fish. Because if you're able to take care of them, what you have, and if you're able to consider that, then it would be best to take care of the fish you have well, rather than a lot of fish and not be able to do much with any of them. So it's like the old adage, jack of all trades, master of none. It's good to master in a few trades, so in a few fish, and rather than being just the jack of all fish, like the one that has, he's got all fish, but he doesn't have time to take care of them. They all suffer that way. So that's something to consider and to be mindful. So this helps us. For example, we had the penguin tetras here for a while, and I bred them, and I was successful. I was very happy, and I got to know how to breed tetras a little better. You were with me on that journey. And then finally, obviously, time is pushing me towards other fish. Uh, Penguin tetras are not that expensive. They're very cheap. So there's not really any money to be made to become a penguin tetra breeder, because they breed them in big mass in large outdoor ponds and vats and things like that, in warmer climates, and then they can just be shipped so cheaply. It's not worth our while. But as you see in this fish room, some of the fish are hard to get, and those would be examples of, for example, the peppermint plecos, also the honeycomb plecos. You just don't see them very often, and if I was producing them, everyone will sell. Everyone will sell at a very good price, and so that's why it's smart to stick with fish that you'll be able to move easily and not be overrun. For example, at the auction there was a couple of bags of convict cichlids, and I tell you, it was the running joke. They were making fun of the convict cichlids, and I will mention one of the auctioneers who had a pet store in the past said this about convict cichlids. Convict cichlids are actually quite well, because you can give them to new aquarium people and they're foolproof. You just can't kill a convict cichlid. And therefore, he recommended them for people. And they would take them home, they would have success, they would be excited about them, and then they would spawn. And of course, they easily spawn, they have lots of babies. And so it's a wonderful thing for the family, and they really get hooked on their fish, and it's a great way to do it. And then in the end, of course, he said, but of course, in the end, a year later, they're coming back with all these convict cichlids, and he doesn't know what he's going to do with them all. But the fact is, he was able to really help somebody get into the hobby and fish keeping in general. So he had a great point that I never had thought about before, and that is, can we use fish like that for making success stories rather than tragedies? So that's something to think about. Maybe it's a good topic one day for somebody. Thank you very much, everyone, for your talks. My battery is just about dead. I wanted to just share with you, if you're just joining us now, this particular live stream, I showed you the things that happened this weekend at the Hamilton District Area Aquarium Society, and the things that took place yesterday. I picked up some really nice goodies, and I shared those with you. I was able to sell a lot of the albino cherry barbs that we had available, and they were very popular. People really wanted them, and there were other people who brought them too, but they all sold for a good price. And I guess because they're so red and rich, they're just one of those fish that probably will be easily to move. So a lot more than just even normal cherry barbs. So we'll see about that, and we'll see in this tank right here behind me whether or not we ended up with any cherry barbs. I did use a young male, and it was one that looked like it had more long fins in the finnage. So I'm hoping to get some long finned cherry barbs, albino cherry barbs at that. And you know what? We'll see if they come out getting some with extra long fins. But if they didn't spawn, no worries. The truth is that when a male is so young, he sometimes just needs a couple of goes at it before we can say that he's seasoned and he's got it down, so he can figure out how to get the females to lay their eggs. Well, with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much for joining tonight. Enjoy your weekend, the rest of it, or whatever is left of it. And most of all, keep it real.